Till now, we have seen three different types of finite state automata: DFA, NFA, and NFA with epsilon transitions. We also discussed a proof that NFAs and DFAs are equivalent in power as language acceptors. And the topic for today is what class of languages is accepted by the family of NFAs with epsilon transitions. We have to see whether an NFA with epsilon transition can recognize or represent more languages than what set of languages is represented by DFAs. And that is the topic for today. So we need to see what class of languages is accepted by the family of NFAs with epsilon transitions. So this is what we have to see. So the question we are asking is, can we have an NFA with epsilon transitions for a language for which no DFA or NFA exists? So what do you think? Do you think that epsilon NFAs or NFAs with epsilon transitions are strictly more powerful than NFAs or DFAs? The answer is no, and hence we can conclude that the class of languages accepted by the family of NFAs is regular. We need to have a proof for that. So this is our claim: DFAs and NFAs with epsilon transitions are equivalent in power for accepting languages. We need to have a proof, and we will have a very similar proof like what we did for equivalence between NFAs and DFAs. So very similar proof with only a single difference, that is in the definition of the transition function. So here again we will have two subclaims to prove it. Subclaim 1: for every DFA D, we can prove that there exists an epsilon NFA N such that their languages are same. By epsilon NFA, I mean NFA with epsilon transitions. Claim 2 is the other direction, that is, for every epsilon NFA N, there exists a DFA D such that their languages are same. So if we prove subclaims 1 and 2, then the proof of the claim follows, because these two subclaims are enough to prove the main claim. Okay? And if we do that, then as a corollary, we have the result: the class of languages accepted by epsilon NFAs is regular, because by subclaim 2, for every epsilon NFA there is a DFA, and hence the language is regular because of the existence of a DFA. So it remains as to prove subclaims 1 and 2, where the proof for subclaim 1 is trivial, since every DFA by definition is also an epsilon NFA. Note that in the case of an NFA we are having more freedom, And when we go to a epsilon n of a, even more freedom. So a DFA is a restricted kind of epsilon n of a, and hence by definition all DFAs are epsilon n of a's also. You please verify with the definitions if you have any confusions regarding this. So it remains us to prove subclaim 2, which needs to prove that for every epsilon n of a there exists an equivalent DFA. So just like what we did for NFA and DFA, here again we can have a constructive proof where we will discuss a construction algorithm, which is again the subset construction, which can take an epsilon n of a as input and can produce an equivalent DFA as output, satisfying this equation. Languages are same. And the notation D subscript n means the DFA D, which is induced by the epsilon n of a n, or which is defined in terms of the epsilon n of a n. Now we can try to prove it. Before we discuss that construction algorithm, so let us look at an example n of a with epsilon transitions. Here it's an epsilon transition n of a because you can have epsilon transitions, you are having it, and not a DFA because if you look at this particular state, transitions are not defined for B and C. Similarly, many other states violate the property of a DFA. So it's an epsilon n of a. Now to see how you can construct that DFA, let us consider an example execution of this epsilon n of a on this input. We know that the epsilon n of a here will start with the only start state 0. So you are here. What is the first input symbol to be read? It is small a. So what do you do? If you read small a, you can take this transition and come back. So this is the next state that you can produce. And here you can also observe that you can do something more because of the presence of the epsilon transitions. You can in fact reach into the states 1 and 4 by just processing the first symbol. How will you do that? First you read that symbol, stay back, then without reading any input, take this edge and go to 1. You can go to 1. Similarly, you can go to 4. And in these two cases, note that the two edges are for A and epsilon, A concatenated with epsilon. So you are getting a path for A itself, and that is why I say there is a way to reach into 1 from 0 by just reading the input symbol A. Okay. And can you reach into any other state? If you closely observe, you can see, yes, I can reach into 5 as well. How? First you do an epsilon transition without consuming the first symbol, move along this edge, that you can do because it's an epsilon transition. And once after you reach here, you take the A transition. Okay. So 5 is also reachable. The edge levels are epsilon concatenated with A, so small a. So by traversing these two edges, you will reach into 5, and whatever you processed is just A only. Okay. Now note that after processing a single A, you are simultaneously in all these 4 states. So you are in all these 4 states simultaneously. Now you see, for the next symbol B, where all you can move from the state 0, you have to consider from state 0, 1, 4 and 5, we will take one at a time from 0. If you look at, you can see that for this B, take this transition and move along to this 0, that is this edge. Now after that, if you want, you can take these two transitions and then you will reach into 1 and 4 respectively, and this is the label B concatenate with epsilon in both cases. Okay, and here again you can see that you can also reach into 2, because first you take this epsilon transition, then a B. Okay, so from here, after processing an A, you can do this to finish the next simple and reach into 2. That's it. Now you see, suppose you read the simple B from the state 1, and that is here. What you can do is you can move along this edge and reach into state 2. From 1, you can reach into 2. Okay, no other possibilities are there. And the next state to be considered is 4. From 4, where you can reach, you are going to process a B. In this particular case, no transition, so you will not get a next state. So in this case, the path ended over here. Now in this level, one more state is to be considered. From 5, where you can move for the symbol B, you can move into 6, and that's it. And now you note that simultaneously you are in all these 5 states, and that is what I marked over here. Again we have to see for the next simple, from 0, where will you move? Next simple is CA. So from 0, you already know that you will move into all these states. So just copy it, exactly this sequence of states. And after that, what you do, maybe you look at state 1. For a B, what you can do? State 1 for a B, we already found that only one next state, which is 2. Okay. Sorry, it's not a B, it's an A. From state 1, there is no A transition, so next state is not defined. Sorry for that. Now what is it? Now if you look at state 2, A transition is taking you to state 3. So from 2, there is an A transition, and that is the only transition. Now you look at state 4, you want to process A, so the only transition is taking you to 5. After 4, 5 for an A. Now the only remaining state from this stage is 6, from which no transitions are there for A, so you will just take out that marking. That's it. Now you see that after ABA processing this part of the string, you are simultaneously in all these 5 states. So now you see, from the 0 state for B, what you do? We have already found this is what you do. If you are already in 0 and if you process a B, these are the set of all states to which you can reach. So copy it. It's exactly this. And after that, now suppose you want to see from 1 for a B, where will you go? From 1 for a B, we found that we will move on to only state 2. Okay, from 1 on a B reaching into 2. So what is the next state? If you want to process 3, no outgoing transition. So from 3, you will not get any transition. Next is 4. If you want to look at 4 and next symbol is B, no transition. So next state of 4 is also undefined. Now the last state, which is 5, you are going to read a B, and if you read B, you will move into 6. So this is going to be the trace, because in this case you have only one initial state. This is a tree. And now you note that we have to get for a simple into a single state. I hope you remember from our subset construction for NFA to DFA conversion, what we did was this. We grouped states at each level, level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 into a single set. Okay. Now you note that from this set to this set, all transitions are for the same symbol, and that is true in every case. Okay, so what you can do is you can say that okay, this is a set of states. Here singleton set 0, here set of 4 states, set of 5 states, here again set of 5 states, and here as well. So from this set to this set, the transition is on A. So this is what I am trying to tell. The initial state is set 0. From that state, the A transition is taking you to a state containing this subset of elements 0, 1, 4, 5. Here it is 0, 1, 4, 2, 6, 0, 1, 4, 5, 3, 0, 1, 4, 2, 6, and these are the transitions. So in the constructed DFA, the run will look like this. Okay, I hope you are following. This is exactly what we did for NFA to DFA conversion, but here the only additional component is the presence of epsilon transition. Okay, now we can see how we can define the required transition function for the DFA when the given input is an epsilon n of A. For that, let us consider that example again with a single modification to make this discussion very general. I just added this transition. Okay, that doesn't matter, just to see how we can define the transition function for the DFA. You know that you have to start from from the first state. You need to define the transitions from this set of states. Okay, that is singleton set 0. So we need to say not that capital delta is the transition function for this n of A with epsilon transitions, and for the DFA that we are going to construct, we need a deterministic transition function. Okay, and that is small delta. Now we are looking at this from the singleton set 0. Where will you go for the simple A? You know that by just taking this edge, you can come back to 0. And so what is it in terms of delta? It is nothing but the transition relation for A from 0 in the given n of A. From the state 0 for A, where will you go? You will come back to 0. That is this function. Okay. And we also saw that after A, you can either take this epsilon transition or this transition. Okay, so you can reach into 1 and 4 as well. So this is state 0, you can reach into 1 and 4 as well. So how will you write this? You can write it as, first you take this transition, what is it? Delta 0A. From 0, you take this A transition. Okay, you will come back to this. So A is consumed. Then without consuming, you can take any of these transitions. That is the blue transition. And now note that the blue transitions are taken for the epsilon, which is a string. And I hope you remember the extended transition function definition from lecture L4. Okay. Otherwise, please refer to lecture L4, where I have defined the extended transition function. Okay. So first you did this transition, that is this, you came back to 0. After that you applied epsilon transition. Epsilon transition can be applied by taking the extended transition function because it is a string. Okay, and we also know that we can reach into 5. How will you reach into 5? First you apply this epsilon transition, that is delta cap from 0 on epsilon. You are reaching into 4. After 4, what you do? You take the edge for A, that is you have to apply delta from the state 4. The result of this equation is state 4. From 4, you are taking this edge, meaning you are applying the delta transition on this simple in the given epsilon n of a. Okay, and that is how you reached into 5. Now you can see that because there is another epsilon transition, you can reach into 7 as well. See that this is the path and the label is A only. Epsilon concatenated with A, concatenated with epsilon, which is A only. Now how you catch this state into this set of states union? First you take this transition. What is it? From 0 you apply the epsilon transition. Because it's epsilon, it's delta cap. So what is the value of this? This is nothing but 4. Where will you reach from 0 after processing epsilon? Through this way. It is 4. Okay. Actually 4 and 1, that you can see later. So assume that it is 4. So after 4, what you did? You can take this AH, that is delta transition on A from the state 4. So you reached into 5. The value of the whole expression is 5. So after 5, what you did? You took an epsilon transition to reach into 7. So you need to take an epsilon transition, hence delta cap. From the resulting state, you apply epsilon transition. The value of this equation is 5. After that, you are applying this epsilon transition and reaching into 7. Okay. I hope you are following me. Otherwise, please watch it again. And for the interest of time, let me proceed. Now, we reached into the second level. Okay, now this was a single term set containing just the element 0. Now this set is containing a number of elements, so we need to define. Suppose you look at this state in the DFA, this set, not that in the DFA this is going to be a single state. How will you define A? You can just apply this formula for each state in this set. For each state Q in this set, you apply this formula. 0 is replaced with Q everywhere. Okay. It's just copying and replacing 0 with Q, where Q can be an arbitrary state in this set, and that is why a union is put here over all these cases. Okay. And now you can generalize, you can say that in general in the DFA, the state is a subset of states in the N of A. From that subset of state, where will you go for an A? Okay, here in place of this set, you are having capital A. That is the only difference. Okay, that's it. I hope you are getting me. Anyway, at the end of this lecture, I am giving you an exercise problem to complete the construction of DFA from the epsilon N of A, which will make it very clear. Now, we have enough things to formally define the construction, which is subset construction again. Let N be an N of A with epsilon transitions over an alphabet set sigma. Then an equivalent DFA, meaning accepting the same language as that of the N of A. D subscript N, D from N, can be defined as the quadruple new state set, a new start state, the transition function for the DFA that we defined in the previous slide, and set of final states, where what is the state set? It is nothing but the set of all subset of states in the N of A. So this is same as in the case of the other construction. Then what is the start state? The start state is the set of all start state in the given epsilon N of A union the set of all states to which you can reach from the start states by epsilon transition. Not that without consuming any input you can reach into all such states. So you can treat all those as part of the start state. Okay, and you have to do that, otherwise your construction is not going to be correct. And the transition relation, that function which I just have copied from the previous slide. Then the set of final states. And here the only differences are in the definition of the transition function and also in the definition of the start state. The other two components are exactly the same as what we did for NFA to DFA conversion. Okay, and now I am giving you an exercise problem which is the same example, and you are asked to complete the DFA construction. And with this we are finishing this lecture today. So we have seen a proof that NFAs with epsilon transitions and DFAs are equivalent in power, and hence the class of languages accepted by the family of epsilon NFAs is regular. Thank you.